The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by Jon Scieszka. Let me tell you a story. It's about the three little pigs, and I'm going to tell you a little secret nobody knows. The real story, because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, and you can call me Al. No one knows just how this big bad wolf thing got started but me. Maybe it's because wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. But if cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think people were big and bad too. This big bad thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Way back in Once Upon a Time, me, Alexander T. Wolf, was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I had run out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask a neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor just happened to be a pig, and let's just say he wasn't too bright. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? Who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house. So I called, little pig, are you in? There was no answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been in the house the entire time. It seemed like such a waste to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. So I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next door neighbor's house, and the neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. And he had built his house of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called out, Mr. Pig, are you in? The pig yelled back, Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had grabbed the doorknob, and when I felt a little sneeze coming on, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed another great sneeze, and you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now you know how food will spoil if you leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better too. But I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second pig's brother also. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. There was no answer. So I said again, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar and probably wouldn't even give me a little cup for my dear, sweet granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt this sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again, and the little pig yelled, And your old granny can sit on a pin. I am usually a pretty calm fellow, but when that rude pig talked about my dear, sweet, old granny like that, I went a little crazy. That's when the cops drove up. I'm not sure, but I think I was trying to break down the pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all the huffing and puffing and blowing your house down stuff. And they made me the big bad wolf, BBW for short. If you want to hear about what they did to me and you need to get a copy of The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs by Jon Scieszka and find out for yourselves. Of course, I was framed, but in the meantime, maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar.